Okay, I'm so sorry for that. We had some technical difficulties. Actually, that's not too bad because I would say from, I don't know, a little over a month of doing this every single day during the week, Monday to Friday, this is our first big technical issue, but we are back online. Okay, let's get a bit serious and hopefully quite helpful for you. Do you have any chronic chest pain that you're feeling? I would imagine if you're watching this, a shortness of breath, possibly a chronic cough that you've been dealing with, even if it's a mild one, or even if you're dealing with chronic fatigue. This is all pointing towards lung dis-ease, okay? We're not diagnosing anybody here, so don't go overboard with me, but we definitely want to look at your breathing, and we want to do everything we can to make it feel better. So these are all signs of trouble, and we want to fix them, and it's why I want to give you 9 great tips today. So, as I always like to say, get out that pen and paper and get ready to take some notes because it's going to be quite helpful, I am sure, for you. Are you ready? If you are, type ready in the comments section below. Hi, I'm Jonathan Landsman, your host for Natural Health 365 Live. This show is all about improving your immune system and protecting your health. We do this show live every single day, Monday to Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. So I hope you can join us. And of course, most importantly, I hope you can share this message with someone that you feel, maybe one of your friends or family members needs to hear this kind of message. Don't try to convince them of anything. Just share the show with them as well and see what they think. All right, let's look at some of the basic facts, which are pretty amazing when it comes to breathing problems. It really is by the numbers. Asthma, which is airways being inflamed, right, on a chronic level. Over 19 million adults suffer with asthma in the United States alone. Allergies all over the place. When I was a kid, I had allergies and I was told, oh, there's seasonal allergies, seasonal, spring, fall, in the summer too. About 9 months out of 12 months, I was always suffering on some level or another with the runny eyes, the clogged ears, the nose running, sneezing, coughing, you name it, whether it was cut grass or raked leaves or everything in between. I always seem to be dealing with this. We're looking at over 50 million American adults suffering with allergies, which is basically from infections or air pollution of some kind. There's a sensitivity there causing all these people to suffer from allergies. COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, just a horrific thing that basically is an accumulation of a lot of different conditions. Chronic bronchitis and emphysema are two others that are kind of lumped in with COPD. About 30 million people deal with COPD. These numbers are unbelievable. Every time I throw around these tens of millions of people suffering from one issue or another. But here's the thing, and let's not forget, of course, pneumonia caused by bacterial or viral infections. That's another big issue, obviously, that can hit people from time to time in their life. Get this number, 1.3 million hospitalizations in the U.S. every year. Over 49,000 people die of pneumonia. For me, this really gets to me, okay? Conventionally speaking, of course, if you go look at the literature, they'll tell you smoking, infections, and genetics. This is the cause. And again, like you know, if you've been following all of my shows, what gets me so fired up is the fact that all of these conventional sites are always so general, so broad sweeping in why they try to educate people as to why something is going on. But it doesn't help anybody. It's too general, nothing specific enough. Oh, sure, I guess with smoking, don't smoke. Okay, great. But infections, what kind of infections? What should I do? Genetics, oh boy, what am I, just born with something and there's nothing I can do? I'm just doomed to be sick? That's absurd, but these words are really easy to misunderstand and they're very disempowering when you don't have specific information. And here's the point I want to leave you with that's very important. If you were to walk away right now and not listen to anything else on this show, know this. The vast majority of your breathing problems that you have on a chronic basis, all the things I just outlined, are very reversible. You can naturally do so much to breathe better. I'm going to throw out just 9 tips for you today that you'll find, I'm sure for many of you out there, you'll find at least one of these to be very enjoyable and very helpful to make you feel like you're breathing so much better. Okay, number 1, let's limit our cheese and dairy products. Don't shoot the messenger. I know how addictive and how delicious it is. Coming from New York, please don't get on my case. I know what a really good pizza tastes like in Manhattan. Some of the best pizza you'll ever eat. But today, I'm talking to people who are having allergies, asthma, difficulty getting air into their lungs and getting out the waste products. When you're having trouble breathing, you don't want to eat foods that tend to make you more of a mucus-forming machine, right? Does that make sense? That was pretty cool what I just made up. Anyway, but that's what it is. The more milk, dairy, cheese from pizza, ice cream, I know. What better than having a nice bowl of chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry ice cream at night. Especially, you could tell I've been into this in the past, right? Especially when it gets a little melted. And then you can start stirring it up into a nice creamy mix and just shove it in your mouth. It's delicious, I know, but it definitely helps to clog up your breathing pathways. So you really want to cut that down, please. I hope you don't mind that I joke around a little bit about this, but it is, it's a serious topic for sure. A lot of people suffering, and there is a way out. Number 2, eliminate processed simple sugars. We're talking about white sugar, obvious stuff. Come on, flour. It's so linked together. And artificial sweeteners as well. This is very destructive to our overall immune system, but most in particular, it's very destructive, yes, sugar on the immune system, but in a specific way. I want you to have a picture of the inner linings of your body, the cells themselves, the lung tissue. It's very destructive to that tissue. It's easy for the tissue to get weak, porous, break down, cause micro internal bleeding. Look, I'm not talking about one donut, so don't jump down my throat now about this sugar stuff. But when you're chronically eating lots of sugar on a regular basis, you are literally weakening the tissues in your body. That can't be good for robust, strong, healthy breathing where the lungs expand and fill up soundly with air, and then with good strength, they push out all the waste product that has to get pushed away when you breathe out. With weak tissue is going to automatically be much weaker breathing and much less oxygen getting into the cells where they belong. So I want you to really keep that visual in mind. Number 3, we've got to improve our gut and bowel movements in particular. Bowel movements, my gut. I'm up here. My sinuses, my lungs. What are you doing all the way down in your belly? Because in traditional sciences, it is very deeply, strongly connected. The health of your gut, specifically small and large intestines, how well they work, how clean they are, and that automatically will mean that your lung area, both your lungs, will be either dirty or clean, depending on the health of your intestinal tract. So it's really important to eat organic food when we stay with this third point of improving gut health and getting our bowels to move regularly. And let's go on the record here. A good, long, plentiful bowel movement once a day is a bare minimum. If that's not happening, you're backing up in your gut, and it means you're going to back up in other areas of your body, but most specifically, definitely in and around the respiratory system as well. In fact, in my 35 years in the health and fitness industry, I've always seen a very strong connection when someone's suffering with their breathing, and you could just tell in talking to them, looking at them, there's also definitely gut issues. So the connection's definitely there. Let's eat an organic, anti-inflammatory diet. Very important. I'm just going to throw out one specific for you, and that's nightshades. You know what they are? Tomato, eggplant. I can hear my Italian friends right now screaming and yelling at me. Tomatoes, eggplant, potatoes. These are nightshade foods. When eaten in enough quantity, and everybody's different, they are definitely pro-inflammatory to the gut and the rest of the body. This would be something I would definitely cut way down on if you're looking to decrease that inflammation and really live this anti-inflammatory lifestyle. We want to increase fiber intake. Obviously, organic fruits and vegetables, automatically eating a healthier, whole food diet. You're automatically going to have way more fiber. And the fiber is great to keep the bowels moving and to keep them clear of all the unwanted debris that you don't want gathering up in your gut that then gets a chance, much greater chance, of being reabsorbed into the rest of the body. The more you've got that quick transient time, food going in, food going out, really quick each and every day, then you have much less of a chance of those toxins getting reabsorbed into the body and putting a lot of toxins in and around the lung area, the respiratory tract. So you also want to be well hydrated. This goes along the lines of this anti-inflammatory lifestyle. Being well hydrated is going to encourage you to go to the bathroom and urinate much more. The urination gets rid of a lot of waste products as well, and we want to keep that river flowing. When you're not going to the bathroom that much, it's going to equal one thing only: more toxins trapped inside your body. Not a good thing. The last one is one that doesn't get a lot of press. It's not really a very sexy thing at all to go into, but it's just whatever food you eat, chew really well. Slow down and chew up your food really well. It's a common sense thing. If you're looking to improve your gut and your lung health so that you can breathe easier, I mean, imagine you eat really fast, a big meal, huge amount of food, you stuff up your belly. Don't you have trouble breathing sometimes because that food is like way up there, right? You understand? So the idea is any amount of food that you're eating, make a commitment to really break it down really well, almost, if you will, into a liquid and then swallow. That is much easier on your gut. It's also a great way to reduce stress. Stress is not really on this list, but overall, chronic stress and anxiety definitely plays a huge role in hurting your breathing. I guarantee you this, without going into much detail, because I've had a deep experience with this. If you chew your food a lot more, like 50 to 100 times a mouthful, one meal like that, you will literally feel a complete nervous system change in you. From maybe a little bit more wound up, tense, to a very calm, relaxed state. And I would almost venture to say your breathing after one meal like that, chewing a lot more, your breathing is going to actually feel a lot better. Now, it may take you a while to finish your meal, but you check it out yourself and see if it's true what I'm saying. Number 4, let's move along here. Glutathione. This was a whole podcast I did on Natural Health 365. You can check it out. By James Bruzzese, a second-year med student who had saved his mom suffering from full-blown pneumonia. One of her lungs was just completely full. The hospital gave a couple meds, not much else. Thought maybe she had COVID, but back when she had it and went to the hospital, they weren't even in full mode of testing everyone. They're like, yeah, you probably have it. Go home. And that was it. And she continued to suffer greatly, not just with her breathing, but remember what I said to you before, chronic fatigue? I don't think I have to tell you. If you're suffering with breathing issues, you are greatly suffering with your energy level as well. And this woman, James's mother, could not really move much at all, really suffering labored breathing. So what did he do? Called up his teacher, and he was a second-year med student, called up one of his teachers in med school. What should I do? Cytokine storm, everything's raging in her body. He said, you know what? I work with a lot of Lyme disease patients. Very similar stuff happens to them as well. Why don't you try some glutathione? 2,000 milligrams of glutathione. Boom, one shot. And in a half hour or so, less than an hour, there was a dramatic change and improvement in her breathing. Thank God, right? So glutathione is a biggie. It's the master antioxidant in the body. And when we've got a lot of oxidative stress going on in so many people's lives, all those millions and millions of people I told you about, asthma, allergies, COPD, all of them have lots of free radical damage. Every one of those people with breathing problems needs so many more antioxidants. Why not pour in glutathione? As a minimum, Jonathan, what should I do? I personally take about 2,000, I want to pull that back, about 1,500 milligrams of liposomal glutathione. Liposomal technology allows us to get more glutathione into the cell. That's what I take every day. But no matter what, whatever kind of glutathione you're taking, as a minimum, 250 milligrams per day is a good place to start. But to be honest with you, a lot of people, especially those millions out there suffering, their glutathione levels are way lower, especially as we get older. It just naturally drops. And a lot of people are way below 250 milligrams per day. So that just gives you a benchmark, if you will. Okay. And then also, we're going to need, to look at number 5 here, which is a biggie, an obvious one. And I feel for sure from the conversations I've had with so many people, way too few people are taking this seriously. Clean up your indoor air. It is so toxic, way more than even all the pollutants outside. Because inside, it's trapped. Our homes are pretty good technology these days. Trapping in heat, trapping in cool with air conditioning. Not much getting in and out. But so many people have the outgassing of fumes and chemicals from personal care products, household cleaners, the laundry soaps, the furniture, the paints, the carpets, you name it, the Scotch Guard on top of all the furniture. All of this stuff outgas constantly. Bedding, mattresses, there's dust, just normal dust indoors. It is a tremendous stress for every person with breathing problems. I would strongly suggest anyone suffering that they definitely make cleaning up their indoor airspace a top priority and get air purification units in their house. Very first place I would pick is the bedroom. Because again, you're spending hours and hours at one shot indoors, and at least that space will have way cleaner air, and you will notice a difference right away. I've spoken to way too many people at this point. Nobody could convince me any other way. They've noticed a dramatic, pleasant change in how they feel in their breathing just by having an air purification system, some sort of filtration system in there, at least where they're sleeping. So number 6, selenium. It's a good one. It's a micronutrient that's really part of and for 75%, give or take, of all of our detoxification pathways in our body. Pretty important to have selenium and the right amount in you. And just real quick, as we're going through all of these, 400 micrograms per day, pretty good number. Now look, if you look at the recommended daily allowances for all of these things, it's going to be a joke. Way too little for like barely surviving. What I'm speaking to you about are the kind of things that you're going to hear from top integrative physicians who are going to be recommending really good, safe, healthy levels and amounts for all of this stuff to do. This is what you should be gravitating towards to help yourself to breathe a lot better. Vitamin C, number 7. You know I can't speak high enough about it. I talk about vitamin C all the time. I remember years ago, and again, I'm not trying to laugh at it, but it is funny because I think that as an audience at Natural Health 365, many of you have grown to appreciate it more. I used to get slammed at the beginning, really highlighting, featuring what integrative docs were doing with cancer patients and people who are really sick, even with like pneumonia, for example, with huge amounts of vitamin C. And a lot of people in the Natural Health 365 audience would say, Jonathan, that's crazy. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get kidney stones, which is completely not true. For the 99.99% of the people, it's absolutely fine. You can get all of it from just your food, which is really not accurate. When you're suffering with a serious health condition, you're not going to be eating 50 to 100 oranges a day to get enough vitamin C into your body to have that physiological effect of calming down serious inflammation that is causing you a lot of pain. So vitamin C, just as the basics, 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day. That's a really good place to start. Morning, midday, and night. You're looking at 3,000 milligrams a day. But look, let's get real. There's a pneumonia video, I think, don't hold me to it. I think it's around 400,000 views. One of our most popular videos that I've ever posted on Natural Health 365. And it's about a doctor who talked about his own experience with full-blown pneumonia. Way worse than the story I told you before, where he was a vitamin expert and never did this to himself. The doctor said, yeah, you got pneumonia. See it? The lungs are completely full. And then he's coughing, he's hacking, he's really having a labored every second trouble breathing. He goes home and he takes 20,000 milligrams of vitamin C every hour for 3 hours. 60,000 milligrams total in a 3-hour period of time. Now you'd be like, that's crazy. But you got to remember, he had a full-blown case of pneumonia, and his body needed way more C. So that's my simple point to you today. Depending on where you are on the scale of how inflamed and how sick you are, you're going to probably need way more vitamin C than 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day. But if you're feeling reasonably good and you want to stream that into you, that's why I threw out the 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day. I personally take thousands more every single day. I've done it for years, and I can tell you I'm very grateful that I do it. I'll just leave it at that. Number 8, essential oils to the chest. Now that seems to make a little sense, right? But which ones? Really quick, eucalyptus and peppermint. These are 2 oils that clearly, if you're putting that on the chest area, if you're breathing that in, there's also, of course, you can, now that I'm thinking about it, hot ginger compresses, which increase circulation to an area. You could put it on your backside across your lungs or in the front area as well. You get a drop or 2 of the essential oils and you're smelling in the vapors of eucalyptus or peppermint. It's going to definitely help to open up your airways and help you to breathe better. So these are perfectly safe, very effective ways to help yourself without any concern about the toxicity that all of us know are associated with all of these medications. Okay, and the last one, number 9, aerobic exercise. Now, I know you've heard exercise is good for the lungs, but let's get very real for a second about the people who have great trouble with their breathing. Do not listen to the advice that you have to work really hard at aerobic exercise and you're like panting and breathing in and out through your mouth. That would be absurd. That's something called exercise-induced asthma. We don't want to get to that level, and it's very easy to do that with someone that's going to feel like they're causing themselves so much pain with exercise if they're very clogged up in their nose, serious cases of allergies, suffering with COPD, major case of asthma that they have. You don't want the level, the intensity of the exercise to be too high, but it can still have a great benefit to you. How do you know if you're doing too much aerobic exercise? Very simple, what I used to tell all my clients when I worked with them one-on-one. And I used to literally stand by people's sides for 20, 30 minutes, reminding them, talking to them about all these other things that I'm talking to you about today, but spending time with them and constantly reminding them to relax. When they walk, mouth closed. Breathe as best you can through your nose, in and out. And that's a test to the intensity level. If you're doing too much intensity and you have to open up your mouth to comfortably breathe, you're walking, jogging, bicycle riding, whatever it is outside, you're doing that a little too hard, and then that's not true aerobic exercise in the most mild state that I think you should be in if you're suffering with breathing issues. Keep the mouth closed. Try the best you can to breathe in and out through your nose. to get as much of that oxygen into your lungs as you can. And it'll also make sure, keep you in check, that your exercise intensity is not too much. You should be comfortable the whole time. It'll still be a more elevated breathing. You'll be promoting good blood circulation as well. And it's overall going to really help you with your strength, your energy, and improving your breathing, as long as you incorporate all these other things as well as best you can. And I would say at the very least, it's the anti-inflammatory diet that is organic-based. That is so important, where you stay away from those foods that can really clog you up and cause injury to your lung tissue. So I hope that helped. That's basically all it is today. If you have any other suggestions that you'd like to make, please put them in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And my question of the day is very simple. What do you do to protect your lungs? And let's hear from you, because I know a lot of our audience has got a tremendous experience in helping themselves out of health issues. And I know for sure you've got this ability to help other people as well, just by posting your comment down below. Okay, so just as a reminder, the Natural Health 365 live broadcast is every single day. We do this from Monday to Friday. This week, actually, just so you'll know, we'll be off on Friday, but every day we like to do a broadcast at 12 noon Eastern Time. So that's Monday to Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time. We produce another Natural Health 365 live show. Please be sure to join us each and every day. I love having you, and please make it a point to share this show with someone you feel needs to hear this message. Thanks again for being with us. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care.